The identity of the iPad has always lived in a strange limbo. Despite its astonishing hardware, a sleek body, a blazing fast chip, and that iconic ultra-thin profile, it's often been limited not by its physical design, but by what the software allows it to do. Apple's iPadOS has spent years towing the line between being a large-screened iPhone and a scaled-down Mac, never quite fulfilling the dream of being a true hybrid device. But something changed with iPadOS 26. Apple finally let the iPad grow up. This is the first time the update feels less like an incremental software refresh and more like a philosophical shift. It's no longer just an iPad pretending to be a computer. It is a computer now. Full stop. The change is immediately obvious. For years, Apple has resisted adding features that would make the iPad indistinguishable from a Mac. But this time, they went all in. You can now grab windows, move them around freely, resize them, stack them, and snap them to different parts of the screen. That's right. The iPad now features freeform window multitasking. No more rigid split-screen restrictions or simplified floating app cards. This is real desktop-style windowing on an iPad. And with this flexibility comes control. There's now a menu bar that hovers at the top of apps, complete with the stoplight-style controls you'd expect on macOS. These aren't just visual tweaks. They're part of an evolved interface that respects users who want real power and precision. The Files app also got a major upgrade. You can now sort, filter, and organize files with a level of granularity that mirrors what's possible on a Mac. The new Preview app adds more exporting tools and file type compatibility, making workflows smoother and more efficient. Whether you're managing large video files, working with graphics, or reviewing documents, the iPad now offers a far more robust file management system. Then comes background processing. It might sound small, but this change is huge. You can finally export a video in Final Cut, switch over to Safari or another app, and the render will keep going. This wasn't possible before. Tasks paused or reset. Now, the iPad feels more like a real multitasking computer than ever. This update doesn't just support Final Cut Pro. It brings full support for DaVinci Resolve as well. The Resolve app on iPad includes pro-level tools, including AI cutout features and the color grading suite that DaVinci is known for. For creators who already use Resolve, transitioning to iPad becomes a realistic scenario. Even if you're new, the layout closely mirrors the desktop version, softening the learning curve. When it comes to podcasting and online collaboration, iPadOS 26 goes a step further. It introduces a native local video and audio capture system, similar to what Riverside.fm offers. This means you and a guest can each record high-quality local files during a video call and sync them later. It's perfect for podcast creators who previously had to rely on complicated external tools. Combined with the new microphone input settings, it makes the iPad a credible platform for remote production and collaboration. If you're wondering whether this is just for the iPad Pro, don't worry. These features, even the advanced windowing, are available on M-series iPads, including the iPad mini. Though window stacking on such a small screen might feel cramped, Apple didn't restrict the experience. They wanted users across the board to benefit. And it's not just the Pro tools that got smarter. Notes now supports Markdown formatting, something users have requested for years. This means your notes are more portable, shareable, and compatible with third-party apps that also support Markdown. You can now export notes in Markdown format, which makes transitioning between apps like Obsidian, Notion, or Bear more seamless. The Apple Notes app is no longer a walled garden. It's a real player in the note-taking ecosystem. Even the Calculator app leveled up. It includes math notes with real-time graphing, including 3D visualizations. Students and professionals alike will find value here, especially with stylus support for handwritten equations that convert instantly. Combined with Apple Pencil, it's a powerful tool for academic and analytical work. Speaking of the Apple Pencil, iPadOS 26 finally brings Apple's Journal app to the iPad. It might sound minor, but for users who bought the Apple Pencil hoping to use it for digital journaling, this is a big win. You can now write and reflect in your own handwriting, right from bed, just like a traditional diary. These personal touches round out a system that's not just about productivity, it's about lifestyle too. Now let's talk real-world usability. Could this update replace your MacBook? The answer isn't universal. If you rely on heavy plugins in Final Cut or niche desktop software, you'll still want a Mac nearby. But for most users, students, remote workers, travelers, creatives, writers, and casual editors, the iPad has now crossed the threshold. It offers a fluid, responsive, and now legitimately powerful interface that doesn't make you wish for a laptop. This transition is supported by the fact that Stage Manager is still here and improved. Now you get both systems, a guided, focused multitasking system for when you want simplicity, and full desktop-style windowing when you need complexity. Apple didn't just replace Stage Manager, they built on top of it. There's also local capture integration for video conferencing across all platforms, not just FaceTime. You'll be able to use Zoom, Google Meet, and others while recording clean feeds. Combine this with wireless mic support, and the iPad becomes a production studio in your bag. Some users have joked about replacing laptops completely, saying the only thing holding them back is a favorite game or a specific Mac app. For one, it's Final Cut. For another, it's Dota 2. And yet, for casual editing, color grading, emailing, browsing, and collaborative work, the iPad now delivers. It's fascinating how one update can shift the entire narrative. iPadOS 26 isn't about fixing annoyances. It's about changing expectations. It's about Apple acknowledging the potential of the iPad and finally trusting it to be something more than just a tablet. So what happens next? We'll likely see developers lean into this new freedom. Pro apps will start to treat iPadOS seriously. File and audio workflows will become more native. We'll get more peripheral support. And users will finally be able to say, yes, the iPad is my computer. It's not about replacing the Mac. It's about redefining what computing means in a portable form. If you've hesitated to adopt the iPad as a serious productivity tool, this is your moment. It has matured. It has grown. And iPadOS 26 is the software version of that maturity finally arriving. What a time to be using an iPad. What a time to be rethinking what a computer really is. Welcome to iPadOS 26, the iPad you always wanted, finally here.